Here's what's coming up on Network Africa today. Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, officially suspends Niger over coup. Campaigns for Chad's controversial referendum come to an end. Plus, prominent Mozambican journalist murdered near the capital. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Anne Nwawodo. We'd start with news that Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS regional bloc, has suspended Niger's membership after the ruling military junta refused to reinstate the deposed President Mohamed Bazoum. Mr. Bazoum was overthrown in a military coup in the month of July. It suspended Niger from ECOWAS's decision-making bodies until constitutional order is restored in that country. ECOWAS initially perceived the situation in Niger as an attempted coup, leading to the delay in suspending the country. Campaigns for the forthcoming Chad constitutional referendum are expected to end today, and Chadians will be voting on Sunday in the contentious referendum that is seen in many quarters as a move to consolidate power by transitional leader General Mohamed Derby. General Derby has been leading the country since 2021 after his father's death at the hands of rebels. Adopting a new constitution is a key step in the country's transition from the current military-led government to a civilian one in a general election, which is expected in late 2024. More than 8 million Chadians have registered to vote for amendments of the constitution. Prominent opposition leader Success Masra has endorsed the draft constitution, giving legitimacy to the document and increasing the likelihood of its passage in the referendum. And we brought news to you that the Haitian police chief, Franz Elbe, is in Kenya for a 3-day visit ahead of plans to deploy police to help fight gang violence in the Caribbean country. Mr. Elbe and his delegation met the Kenyan police chief, Japhet Kume, and other security officials on Wednesday for bilateral security discussions. But that visit is part of preparations for the deployment of more than 1,000 police officers from Kenya for the controversial multinational mission to support security, and the UN approved this 2 months ago. Just last month, the Kenyan parliament approved the deployment, but a high court extended orders barring this move pending the outcome of a legal challenge into the plan. The plan has faced widespread criticism, mainly due to a poor record of previous interventions in Haiti and, of course, a record of rights abuses by Kenyan police. About 300 gangs are active across Haiti. 80% of the capital, Port-au-Prince, is under gang control. Now is Kenyan journalist Cyrus Mbati. Thank you very much, Cyrus, for joining us. He's joining us virtually from Kisii, which is just 400 kilometers out of Nairobi capital. Hello, Cyrus. Thank you so much. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, what do you think will be included in these security talks?
Well, we understand that the team which came to Kenya on Tuesday is now doing the talks and actually under the cover, but rather secret in a way because of the court order which is in place. But then they released photos of their meeting, and we understand there are some agreements they have made so far because the team is visiting so many places here in Kenya, and that's training places where the policemen are being trained, and the headquarters of the police headquarters where the team is actually based. And they are visiting the teams where they are being trained currently to understand how they are doing the whole training for ahead of the deployment.
But do you think that anything about this 3-day visit could sway the minds of those who are actually against this move?
Well, yeah, because there's a court order in place, whether they agree or not, it's not an issue now for now because the court order is in place until January 26th. But then we understand that the issue which was in contention was that Parliament had not actually approved the whole process. The Parliament actually approved the process and the Cabinet approved the process. So we anticipate that the court will lift the order which barred the whole process. And by February around 2nd, we'll see our first batch going for Haiti. And that's, according to the authorities who are in charge of the whole operation, they say they are ready for that. And there's no kind of opposition for now as they are standing.
Has there been any talk about addressing the alleged rights abuses perpetrated by the Kenyan police?
That was the issue, an issue which was led by the agencies here, especially the human rights organizations, because they are saying Kenya has had a bad history on the same. But then we understand that the officers are being trained on human rights issues, law, and how to combat these gangs in a way that, in a manner that is seen to be humane in a way. And training is basically the basis of the whole issue that they are now addressing. The team which has come to see how they're being trained, they were keen on checking on the same issue of human rights, and they stay. We understand from them that they are satisfied with the kind of training the Kenyan police are getting. So the issue of human rights has been addressed so far as we are standing.
All right, thank you very much, Kenyan journalist Cyrus Ombati. Thanks a lot. We'll definitely be coming back later to get details about it as it develops.
Always here for you.
Prominent Mozambican journalist João Chimuse has been found dead outside his home on the outskirts of the capital, Maputo. Local media is calling it a murder by unknown assailants. Neighbors reported hearing him scream for help in the early hours of Thursday. Fellow journalists are saying that Chimuse had a wound on his head and a machete and gardening hoe were found near his body. Chimuse, the co-owner and editor of Ponto Port Ponto, a privately owned online weekly newspaper, contributed commentary critical to the government on the local TV station. In a statement, the Mozambican chapter of the Media Institute of Southern Africa, the regional press freedom group, condemned the killing, adding that Chimuse participated in the fight for press freedom in the country. The Committee to Protect Journalists is calling on authorities in Mozambique to investigate this sad incident. Mozambican authorities are yet to comment on the killing. Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud believes it is time for the country to take up full responsibility for its security. He insists the achievement of this objective is not only benefiting Somalia, but it will also contribute to regional and global peace and stability. The Somali president was speaking at the Somalia Security Sector Conference in New York.
It's time for Somalia to take up full responsibility of its security. The achievement of this objective will not only benefit Somalia, but it will also contribute to regional and global peace and stability. With Somalia facing numerous challenges, including violent extremism, conflict, poverty and drought, followed by floods brought by the El Niño effect of the climate change, Somalia is among the most vulnerable nations to the climate crisis, despite making among the least contribution to the international greenhouse emissions. Climate shocks are further exacerbated by the ongoing security, which undermines the development of much-needed resilient infrastructure and livelihoods. Both climate change and terrorism are global issues, but we are disproportionately bearing their burden locally, while the global responsibility is lacking. On the financial front, we have strengthened anti-money laundering and countering of financing terrorism policies, which have resulted in hundreds of Al-Shabaab-related bank accounts to be frozen. Ideologically, we have also mobilized local communities across Somalia to publicly reject Al-Shabaab and brought together religious scholars who unanimously denounced the ideology and the practices of Al-Shabaab and branded it as un-Islamic. The drawdown of ATMIS we are witnessing today is a testament to the progress we've made together in building a more stable Somalia with a stronger security apparatus, working towards transitioning full security responsibilities to Somali forces. We completed phase 1 of the transition, and phase 2 will be completed in the next couple of weeks.
And back here in Nigeria, the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has granted approval to the Somalian government to build a chancery in Abuja. This approval was announced during the court's visit by the Somali ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Jamal Mohammed Barrow, at the minister's office in Abuja. The minister further says that though Nigeria and Somalia have had a rough past, both countries can work together to foster cooperation and development.
Somalia and Nigeria has some history. Unfortunately, it's not a very good one in terms of civil war.
Yeah, of course.
We had that experience, and we believe that by the grace of God, Somalia will come out of that and face development. it is not easy when a country is facing war and then that retards development. I can imagine what you are passing through. Mogadishu is a city, the capital of Somalia. We would also love to have experience of how the city looks like. So it is our belief that we'll work at the arrangement, see how we can share things and pass on experiences in terms of development of cities. We will immediately call for a file so that you can have your parcel of land to be able to build your own chancellor. It's unfortunate that that has been there, and we think that if there are things, security is very key for us here. And like I said, where we have improved on security.
Of course,
where we are now may not be what we want to be or where we want to be, but we still believe there's still room for improvement.
And in just a moment, after the break, Rwanda eases nightlife restrictions for festive season. We'll be bringing you this and more. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State says his administration is laying the foundation to ease investments in the state. Governor Sule stated this when he met with the head of the European Union delegation in Nigeria, Mrs. Samuela Isopi, in the government house in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital. He explains that his administration is prepared to partner with the EU to improve human capital development in the state, especially in areas of education, agriculture, green energy, rural electrification, and innovation, among other things.
We are looking at the investors in the oil and gas sector, who are going to come to promote that. We look at the investors in the agriculture sector. And then we have a system where we have one-stop shop, where you can just come as an investor. You don't have to do any other thing. Our team will take him through a company we call Nasida, which is more of an agency, that promotes investment. And they will do everything from registration to land acquisition to issue of certificate of occupancy, and to all the other processes when it comes to tax exemption and the rest of that. So they will do all that for the investor. So they will actually handhold an investor to come around. And the good thing is you have seen the peaceful coexistence so far in Nasarawa State that is going to help in ensuring that return on investment is actually guaranteed.
A looming hunger catastrophe may descend in Sudan by next year's lean season. Well, that's the prediction coming from the World Food Programme spokesperson Lenny Kilns. If access and regular delivery of food assistance to people trapped in conflict hotspots is not expanded. The worst affected areas are capital Khartoum, as well as the Darfur region in the west and the south-central Kordofan region. Lenny also was briefing via video teleconference from Sudan, where conflict erupted in the middle of April this year.
Today, as WFP, we are warning of a looming hunger catastrophe by next year's lean season if we're unable to expand access and regularly deliver food assistance to people trapped in conflict hotspots such as Khartoum, the Darfur region in the west, and the south-central Kordofan region. So this new analysis shows the highest level of hunger ever recorded during the harvest season, which is ongoing right now, and it's typically a period where more food is available. And if there's not a significant increase in food assistance by the time the lean season arrives in May, conflict hotspots could see the emergence of catastrophic hunger, or level 5 out of 5, the highest level on the integrated phase classification scale. Regular and safe humanitarian access to civilians in areas worst hit by violence has quite frankly been inadequate. WFP has been able to take advantage of momentary lulls in fighting to reach families in Greater Khartoum with food assistance, but we've only managed to reach the capital one time in the last 3 months. And only 1 in 5 people who WFP has identified as most urgently in need of food assistance in the Khartoum area, has received food aid since the conflict started.
Security forces in South Africa have ramped up a clampdown on illegal miners. Dozens of soldiers joined the police to search shacks, seizing mining equipment in the Soul City settlement near Kagiso in the west area of Johannesburg. More than 70 people, mostly undocumented migrants, were held over 2 days in that area, which lies near disused gold mines. Some were arrested for drug dealing and possession of illegal firearms. Ahead of general elections next year, illegal migration, rampant crime have all become big concerns, along with high unemployment rate. Over 250,000 arrests have already been made and 3,200 firearms have been seized since authorities launched a crackdown on crimes in the month of May. Many informal miners are from other countries, living and working in hazardous conditions in the clandestine pits. The Nigerian spy South Africa recently convened a town hall meeting in Johannesburg centered around the theme multilateral discussion on achieving a strong force as Nigerians in diaspora. This gathering, driven by a mission to cultivate unity and collaboration among Nigerians in the diaspora, saw distinguished attendees, including the Consulate General of Nigeria in Johannesburg, Mr. Andrew Eddy, and the former Central Bank of Nigeria Governor, His Royal Highness Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. That meeting provided a platform for robust discussions and bolstering the collective strength of the Nigerian people and the diaspora community. Our South Africa correspondent, Innocent Samusa, reports.
The town hall meeting brought together a diverse group of Nigerians from different parts of the Southern African region, all eager to discuss and strategize on how to build a strong force as Nigerians in the diaspora.
We have to foster unity. That's the starting point, because what Nigerian Spice is about is to tell the good Nigerian stories, to actually showcase the fact that we are assets. As Nigerians, we are assets, but you cannot see that asset when everybody is standing like an individual broomstick. You can only see that when we band together, and you can see the force of that talent that resides in the Nigerian community.
I had the opportunity to speak with the Consulate General of Nigeria in Johannesburg, Mr. Andrew Eddy. Here's what he had to say about the importance of such gatherings.
Nigerians in South Africa are thriving. They're doing well. They're helping build the South African community, whether it's in science and technology, in the hospitals, in every sphere of life. Nigerians are contributing hugely to the advancement of the state of South Africa.
Attendees had the privilege of hearing from the former Central Bank of Nigeria Governor, His Royal Highness Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, who shared his insights on the role of the diaspora in shaping Nigeria's future.
If you say you want to be an honest person, and that's what you want to be, it doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, you're an honest man. And you bring up your children that the value that matters is honesty, or generosity, or kindness of spirit, or care for the poor, a caring person, respectful person, decency. Those are that's who you are. And if you begin to define yourself by those values, now when I see you, what interests me is, are you honest? Are you decent? Are you generous? I'm not interested in whether you're Hausa or Yoruba or Igbo. If you are a Hausa thief or an Igbo thief or a Yoruba thief, they are all thieves.
The Nigerian Spice Town Hall meeting concluded with a renowned sense of commitment among attendees. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
Well, we have more from Innocent Samosa, is sent in another report on heartfelt tributes still pouring in for the late multi-award winning South African musician Bulelwa Mkutukana, affectionately known as Zahara. The guitarist and vocal artist passed away in a hospital at the age of 36. She took the music industry by storm in her debut album, Lewiwe, that was in 2011, with records discovered the songstress in the Eastern Cape province. In Johannesburg, supporters are already gathered to reflect on Zahara's musical journey.
Zahara's supporters gathered to remember and celebrate her musical legacy. The atmosphere is one of both sorrow and appreciation as people shared stories of how Zahara's music touched their lives.
On behalf of the South African government and the people of Gauteng, to declare that what we used to cherish and appreciate has permanently left us. What we used to celebrate is no more. Our hearts may beat, but the sound has changed. Our minds may function, but our thoughts are troubled.
I spoke to friends and fans who shared their personal anecdotes about how Zahara's music became a soundtrack of various moments in their lives.
I'm obsessed with the continent of Africa, and I travel it extensively, and everywhere I've gone, they have celebrated her and played her music. Everywhere I've gone, they've said, "Oh, nice to South Africa." Then they say, "Madiba, World Cup, Zahara." So, you know, I've experienced her in so many beautiful different ways. I've shared a stage with her, I've performed with her, but as a true African, I've enjoyed just hearing Africa play her, you know.
Bulelwa was a very loving child, you know. She so much loved Umama Winnie Madikizela Mandela. In fact, that's how I got to know her. And Mama adored Zahara, you know. I mean, who wouldn't with such a talent, you know?
Zahara sang from the heart, and the music that she wrote, it still resonates in our hearts, and it will teach a lot of young and old about life.
The Gauteng Department of Arts and Culture is urging musicians to prioritize their well-being.
I think we need to, not only as government, as South Africans general, even the industry, we need to have a program where when talent is discovered, we incubate these young people on how to deal with what the world is exposing them to. It's my personal opinion. I think we need to do that.
Affectionately known as Zahara, Bulelwa, the daughter of Rolson and Oliswa Mkutukana, might have gone, but her music will remain a story in many people's lives. From South Africa, across its borders, the name Zahara and the song Loliwe will continue to reverberate. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
Let's head to Rwanda now, where the government has relaxed operating restrictions for bars, nightclubs and other entertainment establishments during the festive season. The government had initially imposed restrictions on all non-essential services in September just to help curb noise inflation, pollution and public disturbance. Entertainment businesses have been operating for less hours in one day to the charging in hotel, restaurants and of course nightclub owners. But under the East laws, bars can stay open until 2 a.m. between December the 15th and January the 17th, with restrictions moved on Fridays, weekends and public holidays. However, the board is warning against violation of these rules surrounding noise pollution. Sound levels in commercial areas are limited to 55 decibels at night under the measures which were announced in September this year. And that's it on Network Africa for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawado. Have a wonderful weekend.